It's coming home. Are we just going to hear that now the whole way
Hey Jude
through?
is the new song.
Hey Jude. I'd rather sing Hey Jude.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so sad for a team that's going to go out in the round of 16. Ollie, 6-2, 6 goals. Hey, it's okay. You have depth on the squad because Harry Kane ends up assisting on a couple of them, even though he doesn't get it. But, it also just speaks to the depth of this team and the firepower that it has. So what was the ultimate takeaway from you? Obviously, Iran losing their starting goalkeeper in the 19th minute, colliding with his own player. He tried to play. Clearly, he was dealing with a concussion there, so he eventually had to leave. And then the onslaught was on, Ollie.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the Iranian goalkeeper even tried to continue. Like, fair play to him for attempting it, but I think the doctors have got to step in that situation. But my big takeaway was what KJ mentioned there. Like, Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice, this is the midfield partnership I have dreamed of as an England fan my entire life. Like, we've had good players in the midfield positions, but they've always been kind of all action players, right? Players who want to go forward. Everyone wants to go forward. We lack a proper holding midfielder for a lot of the time I've watched England. That's Declan Rice. I think he's one of the best in the world at it now. And then Bellingham is a bit more in the image of some of the midfielders of England, times past. But I think he's just got a bit more of a brain on him than a lot of the players we've had in that position. He understands the game, the way he moves, the intelligence of everything he does, I think is on a bit of a different level. Like, I really think we're looking at a young player here who can be as good as anyone in the world in his position in the long term. And when you look at teams that win World Cups, teams that go deep in World Cups, we saw Pogba was outstanding in 2018. Kroos, Xavi, these types of players. We've never had a player like that in England, and Jude Bellingham looks like he can be that level of midfielder. So he's so young that it's a lot to put on his shoulders at this tournament, but on the basis of that performance, he looks ready to embrace it and be one of the standout players here in Qatar.
England, every major tournament, the way they start is oftentimes rather poor, and you're just left asking more questions than having answers. I mean, it's an emphatic start to the tournament where in this group, you cannot feel that England is in a great position to move forward. And then by finishing potentially first place in this group, things open up nicely for them. To Ollie's point, the big win, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham in the midfield. I mean, that is a duo that is great now, but for the future are going to be even better. That gives you reason to believe that this team can do something. I still have serious questions about their center back pairings. Harry Maguire came out. Eric Dyer comes in. John Stones. I'm not sure when they play top competition that this back line is anywhere near good enough. But for now, today, for a team where Harry Kane doesn't score and you end up scoring 6, it's a wonderful start for England in every way, shape, or form. I do want to say, despite the scoreline, the Iranian players for me are winners today. The way that they treated the national anthem and the way that they kind of expressed themselves through their stoic nature, I think it delivers a very big message. Women life freedom from the Iranian fans in the crowd. That sends a massive message as well. So although it didn't work out for them on the field today, I think that the message was sent, something that's bigger than the game right now going on in that country. I will say for Iran, conceding so early played completely against them. I do think they'll be a much more difficult team to play against for both the United States and Wales. So they still have a role to play in this group, although today simply outclassed.
Jordan?
What stood out to me today was not how many goals were scored, but in fact, who scored the goals. Bukayo Saka, my Arsenal boy, and Marcus Rashford, they received a lot of backlash in the Euro finals. Some hatred and hateful messages and unworded messages that they did not deserve. For me, to step up today, play a game and deliver and not be tainted by anything that happened in the past, I truly commend them. I think for England fans watching, if you're celebrating when your team scores or players score, you shouldn't ostracize them when they miss. So for me, it was a full circle moment, and I would love to have these guys continue to go on in the tournament and do well. With Jude Bellingham, the only thing I need to say about him is that he's so dynamic, covering box to box. This is a future England captain. The way that he commands the midfield, that partnership with Declan Rice as well, it's something to be watched. But yeah, their Achilles heel is defensively. Even though I do think your boy Maguire today, Wheels was very good. But when they're tested, who knows what will happen?
It's my boy, apparently.
Look, let me ask you guys quickly. Let me just ask you guys quickly. Sorry, Wiz. I think they go back to a 3 against better teams. I don't think he'll trust.
The four is not going to work. No chance.
But I'm not sure if that works in their favor. I think that for them to be successful, they need to stay in a 4. And the question will be asked, well, there was some negativity around, surrounding England, the sentiment in terms of how they were going to do it this tournament coming in. Today's game doesn't change a thing. They're supposed to beat Iran, whether it's like 2-0, 4-0, 6-2, it doesn't matter. They're supposed to win a game like that. But what does give you reason to believe is the nature of the performances. Rashford coming on, showing out the way he did. Sterling is currently regularly a threat. Trippier and Shaw doing well down the flanks. There's enough in this team to make you think that another deep run at this tournament is within this group. It all comes down to their center back and their goalkeeper for me. I just don't think that they're strong enough, and we'll see what their mentality and shape looks like going forward.
So I feel like Gareth has already answered this question, and maybe we're not going to get much answer out of game 1. In a game, it seems there's a little bit of consensus that, you expect them to go on and beat Iran. Maybe not by that score line, but Ollie, we know that there was a lot of negativity surrounding England going in. Mostly, I think, because people just didn't trust Gareth Southgate. They just don't trust how he deploys the players. But given that performance, is it changing a little bit of the way some people are thinking? Do you think they've silenced any critics?
To an extent, I think they actually have, because even though this game isn't the one that anyone's going to really remember or judge them on come the end of the tournament, I do think, Will said it earlier, this is unusual for England. They don't normally start tournaments like this. It's usually a real slog in the first game just to get a 1-0 win or something like that. So the fact that they've gone and scored 6 goals in back-to-back tournaments now, by the way, for the notoriously negative Gareth Southgate, I think that will probably build a bit of excitement and hype in England and maybe put a bit more pressure on the team, actually, as a result of that. So, like I said, not the result that will define them, but I do think it will build a bit more positivity around what people's expectations are for the team back home in England.
Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen. Well, you both said it, Jordan. You said it, Wheels. You pointed it out. We know that FIFA, we know that there are some horrible regimes out there who are trying to silence a lot of these players. You can make a lot of noise with your feet, and silence can still be very loud. And we saw that in the game here today.